Today, we're talking about rapper Young Thug. He's been set free, and we're going to talk about the conditions of his plea deal, along with the conditions of his probation. Is he being set up to fail? We're going to talk about that and more in this episode. Let's go.
Arkatech Beatz.
What's up, everybody? It's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We're your hosts, platinum producers, Arkatech Beatz. I'm Juggernaut.
I'm Mike Trauma D.
And today, we are the super duper group, Arkatech Beatz. If it's your first time here, make sure you're hitting the subscribe button, hitting those notification bells. You know, every week we get together to talk about different things in the music business and how you can navigate that, also as far as news, etc. Each episode of the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast is brought to you by our books. Make sure you can learn the music business. Make sure you go check those out. And, you know, those are on sale right now, so make sure you're looking at that. So today I want to just get into, you know, rapper Young Thug. You know, that's been the news. He just been, after a long trial, he's been on trial for well over a year. They've finally set him free with a plea deal. It's not really the best plea deal in the world, but, you know, we wanted to talk about the conditions of that, you know, get your thoughts on that, and also give these rappers some tips, man, to see what's happening with this and see how you can navigate this thing, because, you know, with what's happening to Lil Durk and things that are happening to Diddy, like there's a lot of things happening with rappers and artists are getting into a lot of different situations, with legal situations, and we definitely need to find a way to navigate it. So let's get into that.
Yeah, so Young Thug was back home with his family. That's you know, we're all happy to see that. You know, a man away from his family that ain't it. You know, so to see me like reunited, and you know, that's always a good thing. But let's talk about the conditions of his release. Now, one of the big things that I see is not being able to go back to Atlanta, you know, metro area, like that, you know. Okay, but first of all, you're going to be on probation for 15 years.
Right.
Okay, so you're under the watch, you know, for 15 years. So 15 years, you're you know, you're looking over your shoulder. You're watching what you're doing. You're being extremely careful, because any violation of your 15-year probation can result you back in for what, 20 years? They said.
So it says here that the judge gave him a total sentence of 40 years.
Right.
And the first 5 were to be served in prison, but they were commuted to time served, I guess, during the trial.
Right.
Then he has 15 years on probation.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a backloaded 20 years in prison, which will be commuted to time served if he complies with all the conditions of his probation.
Right.
So that's a total of 40 years.
Right. And if he doesn't, if he messes up within the 15 years, then he could be faced with the 20 years, with the 20 years that would have been backloaded. So he'll get that 20 years in prison. Now, the stipulations are, and it's not limited to, but, you know, not being able to travel to the Atlanta metro area. That's first and foremost. And that's off the back, you know, I'm like, wow, you know, yeah, there are some additional stipulations within that. Whereas if you got to do community services, then they'll allow that. If you need to, you know, funerals or I guess weddings and, you know, certain things, you can do that within a certain time frame, 24 hours before and 48 hours after. So there's different stipulations, but there are a lot of rules set up that can be easily broken if you're not very mindful, you know, if you're falling into to you know, just old habits, you know, not being able to hang out or associate with felons. And, you know, some of these felons could be your own family and friends that you grew up with, that you've known for 20 plus years. You know that they're your livelihood, they're your people. This is what you got. This is what you came in the game with. And maybe they're not involved in this situation, but they've just been your peoples forever. You can't associate with them. You know, certain records you can't make if it's promoting any type or it's just looked at. If it's looked as, let's get that clear. If it's looked at as promoting any type of gang activity or violence or anything of that nature, that could be a violation. Am I missing anything off the back? Those are the ones that just kind of like came to the top of my head when went over it.
The conditions of his probation, like you said, they're wild, right? Because we said he can only associate with maybe like with one artist, which is Gunner, right? At this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you can't have any contact with anybody in the street. It's crazy. So I don't. I look at this as a win because he gets to go with his family and he gets to do that and he's free. But I also look at this as that setup, and we watched this happen with like Meek Mill, where the conditions of his probation are so strict that he keeps violating probation and keeps landing himself in jail. And the way that I looked at this is when they came out with this thing, I say, I'm happy that he's out, but at the same time, the way this industry is being built right now, it looks like they're just taking bets on his career. Like the record industry to me is using insurances or whatever they're doing to bet on these artists that they're going to be involved in criminal activity or they're going to get killed. And they're taking insurance against that. And they're willing to wait for you guys to really mess it up and to fall victim. Off camera, you and I were talking about it because I'm like, okay, I was saying how he has money and he should be able to remove himself from these things. And you said, I'll let you say what you said to me when I said, that I'm the mistake that I was making, which is.
Yeah. I mean, just because you offer a street person, some money and they have money doesn't make them automatically, choose or start behaving differently.
Right.
And we said this. I think we said this in the last podcast. You give a 16-year-old or 17-year-old who never had anything, you give them money and fame, and people all of a sudden start saying, "Oh, they should be behaving like this. Oh, they should be moving like this." No, they're just going to be that same person from the hood at the age they are, just with $1 million. So unless Thug has sat down and really thought about how he's going to move and how he's going to change as far as how he moves and how he handles certain things and puts things in place to make sure that he continues to stay on the right track. He has to put these things in place or else, we're talking about behavior that you're probably used to that's kept you safe or has kept you on your toes or kept you at a certain, comfortability. If you're used to that, if you don't have things in place to kind of make sure you go in the right place, you're easy to fall, into what probably the feds are betting on, So it's a win, as in you have a second chance, but that second chance is going to be very challenging, as you can see. It's not gonna be easy.
So what I want to do with this is, what are some ways that we can tell our audience and tell these guys out here that are trying to get into this music business, and we all coming from certain types of communities and neighborhoods, and we have certain conditions in terms of our mentality. What can we tell these folks that they should be doing so that they can make sure that they don't find themselves in this Lil Durk situation or this Young Thug situation? Or right now, 6ix9ine, he's another one who just got popped on his probation.
Violation, yeah.
He was 4.5. He had a 5-year probationary period, and then he gets popped on year 4.5, right? 4.5.
Yeah.
Right. So now he has to now go back to prison after being on probation for 4.5 years. And all of a sudden now he fails the drug test and he's all of a sudden not compliant after 4.5 years of being, flying straight, quote unquote, allegedly. So how do these guys avoid the situation where, it seems like to me, like again, the industry is betting against them and the only people getting rich is the labels and the lawyers.
There needs to be a different kind of rapper starter kit, in place. I don't know who will be the person or the organization to set that up, but there needs to be when an artist comes from these neighborhoods and they come and get these deals, and they get this money, it shouldn't be the typical, let me get the biggest house, let me get the rapper chain, let me get the fancy car. Like, it shouldn't be the typical rap starter kit. The first thing that needs to be done is to get someone in your corner that is legally knowledgeable in how to maneuver in the music business, in your personal life, what the things that you have going on, things of that nature. There needs to be somebody there, or even an organization set up that helps you transition from, okay, you were involved in this, you were doing things like this, you were moving a certain way. You gotta now move this way. This is better for you. This is, you can't do this, you can't do that. Something like almost like a legal step by step process, because you gotta move a certain way. You're gonna be looked at underneath a microscope, and it's not an easy transition, as you can see, for a lot of artists that have came from the streets and then they get success or they get these deals, and they make some pretty bad mistakes, based on things that they've done, and then the childhood, or even coming up, or people who they associate with, or whatever. So I think that's one of the things that needs to be done. Once you get a deal, once you get these things happen, you got to really look at your lifestyle and how are you going to move, and you have to make a change. You can't be the same old person hanging out on the block, interacting with certain individuals, doing the same old thing. And yeah, there's this keep it real, thing, and yeah, you gotta be authentic and this and that, but you need to stay alive and free,
It's like they're going down for everything this week, bro. Like I was just Googling something else and it's like they said there's I think a lawsuit for Metro Boomin. Yeah, he said there's a woman that's suing him for alleged 2016 sexual assault.
But Jug, the thing also is, even with that, something like that, and even some of the Diddy stuff, a lot of people would also throw things in the air to see what's going to stick too. So it's like a lot of times you got to kind of weed things out and wait for the facts to
Yeah.
really come in, wait for the investigations to happen, and wait to see what turns up. Because that's another thing, when we talk about the rapper starter kit and what's needed, there's going to be a lot of people looking, a lot of opportunists that's going to be out there too.
Looking for the paydays.
Looking for the payday. Some may be legit, some may be, people smelling blood in the water, they want to get theirs too. And that's something that needs to be, they need to go over, to watch out for people like that, and to move a certain way, keep a circle a certain way, because there are going to be individuals that are going to be preying on opportunities to get you, because they're trying to get a bag as well.
Because
So
I'm looking at this and like, and again, it's all alleged.
mhm,
But for somebody like him, who's really on top of the game right now,
mhm,
and a lot of opportunities, movie scores, soundtracks, this, that, and
right.
the third. Like this has to hurt your business. Whether it's proven or not. Just the allegation, right? And what I'm seeing happening now is, you're right. When you said that they need a transitionary course, they need to be able to understand how to move from the street to the music industry,
hmm
right? We're not just talking about, you know, We're not talking about the people who hit superstardom. We're talking about the people who even have like lukewarm success, right?
Right.
Like once you've made the decision to go into this music industry, you now have to kind of change your behavior, right? And it's not just the music industry. Really, honestly, it's any place that you want to work or any place that you really want to thrive in society. There is some behavior that you're going to just have to change.
Yeah.
And that's really the bottom line. But a lot of us haven't had that education. We don't seem to understand, like, hey, this we can't move like this, we can't move like that. And I'm looking at these type of situations, right? In the Diddy case, they said that there's a bunch of NDAs that were signed, but they don't seem to be making a difference, right? Right. So people can have non-disclosure agreements, and it doesn't even matter, right? In this type of situation, because again, if you have certain activity going on that's deemed illegal, you know, drug use, whatever, you know, underage drinking or something like that, then you know your NDA is out the window, right? Because now we're talking about criminal activity,
Right.
So I just hate to see this. It seems like the only people that's getting rich are the lawyers. And that's what it seems. That's what it seems like to me. It seems like you guys go ahead, you take all the risk, and now we got to pay all the lawyers to fix everything, you know. And you know, we're ignorant to these things, and I think artists going to have to make decisions about who's in your circle. If you're in a circle where your folks are getting into trouble, you know, they're getting locked up and all of that type of stuff, and they're in your circle, you're gonna have to make some decisions. Like
you said something off camera that was interesting. You said about the mob and what.
Oh, like, and that's really like kind of a depiction. Like, you know, they used to always have that. Just, you know, if you ever watched The Godfather and stuff, you always had the consigliere guy who was an attorney, right? And you know, if you're watching Power or something like that, you know, they always had the attorney that they can always have the attorney client privilege and get real time information from the attorney and how to move. And again, I think that's maybe the best bet for a lot of these artists is, you know, that you're going to have to keep an attorney on retainer, and you're going to have to start asking those questions. Hey, we're going into this state, right? I'm from Georgia. We're going into Florida. How's it going to work with my security and the guns? How's it going to work with the marijuana? You know, what can we do? What can't we do? Right? You know, what's the rules around, you know, engaging or taking women from, you know, on tour with me from one state to the next state. Right? Like, what are the rules? Because now you're going to get hit with the sex trafficking thing. This is the new thing now, right? So now you got to kind of have an idea of what constitutes that, right? And if I take a girlfriend from here to here to here, you know, how much money if I give her money for not going to work, or if she missed work and I gave her money and she was on the road with me or something like that, is that sex trafficking? Could that be deemed as prostitution? Like, what are the rules? You know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, how do I protect myself? How do I protect the company? You know?
Like, and how do I make sure that my entourage, right, is also, you know, either protected, or how do we create the situation where I'm insulated from the actions of my entourage?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, can it be indemnity for me? You know, so what do I need to have to make sure that if my folks don't act accordingly, right, I don't need to be held liable like what happened to Tupac, right? If you think about that, because he'd be like, in his rape situation, it was really the entourage that caused that situation that he wound up doing the jail time for.
Right. Yeah. That's I think that's something that, you know, needs to be talked about and even, you know, thought about, you know, like as soon as you know, as an artist, and it doesn't even have to be a big deal. It's just, you know, a big record deal or anything like that. Just when you start to see like you're getting some sort of success, some money, you know, you could be a B level, C level artist. It doesn't even matter. If you're getting just a little bit of fame, you know, a little bit of name notoriety, and you're making a little bit of change from this game, you're a target pretty much anything. And you have to be careful on how you move and what you do, what you say, you know. And I so far I commend Lil Baby, because I've seen him specifically sit down and start thinking about how he's going to move and some of the behaviors that he has to change and who's going to be around him. So that's someone who has verbally said that he had to make some changes, and really change how he moves, and hopefully, it continues to work out for him. But you
You know,
know,
he's very interesting when you talk about him because when I look at him and I've seen him in certain interviews and I've seen what he's said to me he understands that this music business has an expiration date,
mhm,
and to me it seems like he understands that, hey, I'm here to work as hard as I need to work, get what I need to get, right,
mhm,
and stay out the way. Like this is a person that gets it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was already in that.
mhm.
Let me use the opportunity to make the money, stay out the way. Doesn't make any sense to make the money, you know,
To-
to go back into a situation where you can get caught up into something and you can't make the money anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's so far that's what it appears, and we hope that he
That it
stays
stays in that direction.
that
Yeah.
stays that direction, because it's so easy, and to go back to this to the young Thug case and the plea, it's so easy to kind of fall back into certain behavior and certain lifestyles if you don't really have things in place to kind of make sure that you're not going in those directions. It's very easy, you know for they say he can't associate with gang members, but some of these gang members are your family members. These are friends that you've been with for 20 plus years. Like, how are you not gonna associate? You can't get on the phone and speak to your homie that you've been friends for 20 plus years. Like, that's going to be interesting. Like that's difficult. You know, um, you can't go to Atlanta. Like, how?
I'm just reading this thing and it says he cannot knowingly have contact with any member of any criminal street gang. The judge also said that it includes other people named on the indictment, with the exception of course, Gunner,
Mhm.
and or whoever else he has contractual obligations. He said he cannot participate in street gang activity or promote any gang, including through hand signs. Right. So if he does a peace sign, they can say it's a gang sign. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's if he's in this thing, like, like,
Yeah,
you know what I
yo,
mean?
it
Like,
might, yo, it might, he might, it might, yo. And the thing is, it could be open for interpretation. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very subjective. So this is really where the problem is for me. This is why I feel like it's like a huge setup, right? Like,
right.
he's going to really have to go to a serious, um, I don't even know if it's smart to really, can he go on tour, right? Because let's just say
Oh boy.
right, can if he goes on tour and let's say an incident occurs, is he going to be held responsible for that?
Right.
Because you can, you know what I'm saying? And then can he even perform his past material?
Right.
Right? Like,
Right.
that's the bigger problem here. It's like, can he even perform the old songs that, you
The
know,
hit. Some of the hits.
like, come on, like, and this is really handcuffing him in a way that, like, not to be funny about it, but it's like this is a
It's
a
prison.
really a really crazy situation that he's in. So
It feels like a prison without the prison. Like, will he be able to, like, how's his career going to be impacted? But and not for nothing though, like, for the most part, it's not about his career. It's about his freedom, and for him to be with
yeah,
his family.
but he still
And
needs to have a means to provide, right?
right,
And
but
them
after,
legal fees probably kicked in his butt.
yeah, I mean, after you're with your family, and you're home, you're with the kids, you're doing everything, you're still gonna wanna you're still gonna wanna have a career so that you could continue to support your family. Um, will he be able to do the music that he loves? You know, will he still be able to be creative and be around some of the things that help him in his creativity? Probably not. He has to find something new and different. And will the masses, will they enjoy whatever he comes with? Because he's creativity while you're handcuffed is challenging.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna go on the record, and I'm gonna say this. What may need to happen is somebody needs to now step up and say, um, time for you to turn into like a real virtual content creator and start to create the like now use social media to create the content to connect with the fans. You know what I mean? Set up maybe even a Patreon, a subscription type of situation. Use that to promote any kind of clothes, merch, anything else, and music, and do everything virtually. And then just really give the content of just him living his life now as a free person, right? Because we were so interested in the trial. And now he can basically engage the world without being outside. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the kicker. You may not. That may be a stipulation. You may not be able to do that because you risk you risk saying something, or you risk being in contact with someone who's a felon. You risk communicating with someone who's a gang member. You risk certain things. So there might be some underlying stipulations in that as well. So he will have to be very clear on what he's doing and the content and and how the content could be perceived, because he could go into it creatively and I'm just doing this, but then on the other side they could be like, nah, that's you can't do that. You're communicating with everyone in the world that you're not supposed
That's
to be
I'm
communicating
just
with.
saying, like they you know, like they can like that makes to me this is just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? He's not reaching out to anybody, right? Like if anything, they're reaching in, right? But he's not reaching out to anybody. So it's like, but he can make millions on socials.
But they don't want him to, and that's part of what they're trying to do. They're trying to imprison him without the prison cell.
Listen, we got to play smart, you know, and this is where we are right now. If Young Thug turned into a streamer at this point, right? Because there's definitely a lane for that. But if Young Thug decided to turn into a streamer, studio in the house, I'm going to stream when I'm recording. I'm going to stream when I'm out with my kids. I'm streaming now. Like he would basically create a situation where he can earn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
And
then at the same
he will be
time,
reinventing himself at the same time.
but then he'll have to make sure that it's not live. Maybe the streaming has to go through his attorney to make sure that what he's posting does not violate anything.
What? Oh my god!
But that's what I'm saying. Like that's
It's
how.
like,
Like it's 15 years of making sure. It's 15 years of somebody's digging in, is watching. These feds are going to be watching. They're going to look for something. You're streaming. You're with your kids, and someone passes by. Hey, what's up? You go and give them a dap. That dude's a known felon.
you ain't giving nobody no doubt. We talking about streaming outside of your house. We ain't talking about streaming street. We're not talking about public out streaming. We're talking about controlled environment. We're not talking about going out places and doing
It's
that
going to
type of
have to
stuff.
be very controlled.
Yeah, Kaisenat style, controlled.
Well,
You know,
Kaisenat got an issue right now.
hey, look.
What Twitch just tried to shut him down or something with the.
I think he was getting swatted last night or something like that. You know what I mean? But that's just these people are idiots. You know, making stuff happen. But I'm just trying to see, like, because think about it, he's going to be handcuffed with his music. Can you imagine trying to make music now that's going to be interpreted in every kind of way? You know what I'm saying? So how can this man make some money, bro? Man got to make some money. The man ain't gonna be able to. He ain't gonna be able to just sit here.
He's gonna have to really reinvest. Like he's gonna have to. He got to figure something out, man. He's gonna have to switch up. He's gonna have to figure out a new thug.
Listen, I think people are going to be interested in seeing his transition.
He got to reinvent himself somehow.
Yeah, man's gonna be, just turn it into a reality show, bro.
And if he has a overzealous PO, if he has an overzealous officer that's in charge of his case, and or if it's a team, and any of them is overzealous and wants to really try to make a name for themselves and try to catch Doug doing something that they may feel is a violation, they're gonna go for it. There's probably a freaking office pool at the feds on some how many days till we catch Thug doing something wrong.
Let me ask you another question, and I know it's going to sound a little off the topic, but who do you think is going to win the election? Right? Because let's just say hypothetically that Trump goes back in. Wasn't Trump prosecuted by the same DA in Georgia, Fonnie Willis? So if that's the case, then these guys can start just taking some of that money and start trying to do some political things to see if he get pardoned, like how Kodak Black did.
Is his money returned to him? Like, is it unfrozen?
I don't know, bro. That's a good question. I don't know if it ever gets unfrozen.
We talking RICO, so
I mean, if he took the plea, he got to pay some restitution. You know how that go. They're not
Right.
gonna let him.
And
they're
then
not gonna let him take his money like that.
And what have he already spent out? Like, we talking years and years.
Look,
what's this? You've been 2 years fighting?
Look, if from what I understand, the same prosecutor, they did a lot of stuff with Trump and a bunch of other associates. If he wins the presidency, he's going to pardon all those people that were prosecuted by her. So
it's a stretch.
It's a stretch, but that could be that could be another angle.
Yeah, but you're it's a bet. It's a gamble. You're sitting waiting for this white man to save you.
He ain't gonna save, man. I'm just saying, just use every angle, man, to get from under the thumb.
Because
he really got a raw deal, and the raw deal behind that was that the first judge that got recused should have been recused himself.
Yeah,
he was wickedly crazy as far as the misconduct. So this guy really should have had a mistrial.
Yeah,
this guy should have. This guy's thing should have been a mistrial for so long.
Yeah,
but because
the trial, Judge, honestly, that trial was a fiasco.
That's what I'm saying.
It was a circus.
So this guy didn't really get a real fair trial, bro. And he's really just doing the plea deal situation now because honestly, he was going to run out of money. That's probably what it really was turning down to. That he was probably going to run out of money for legal fees, and he had to take something to happen so that he can go home and really take see what's going to happen. Because think about those folks that sit in the jury all that time and don't get a chance to don't even get a chance to go to a verdict. Like you took all this time to do a plea deal, 2 years in there, people going to jury duty all this time for you to do a plea deal. Like, come on, man. Honestly.
And a lot of resources was used up.
Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. So like, it's really, 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 people really need to look at that and say, okay, listen, what kind of justice is this? You know what I mean? Like, this is not really a fair system, and we know that's not a fair system. So like, again, you got to have to make allies with people who are also being, unfairly prosecuted, and then, see how you can, politically try to get that situation to change. But that might be a stretch from my vantage point, but at the same time, it's like, other people have been pardoned, and it's not a stretch. You know what I'm saying? So, if I know people say Orange Man is bad, but he's the only one that's really pardoning those rappers. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
So he's pardoned rappers, so yeah, he definitely has, bro.
So
that may be an angle he can use, but again, dude will have to win in order for that to happen. So. And that's just another gamble.
That's another gamble on another situation. Yeah. So let's pivot a little bit, right? Because we were also talking about Tory Lanez, and he was trying to redo an appeal, right? And then we're talking about this new video where they got Megan Thee Stallion out there, talking about her, not really telling the truth on Gayle King, and I guess. Some people are justifying that as saying, "Hey, it's national television. Why would she want to tell the truth about her personal life?" And I can understand that. And then it's a lot going on right now, man.
The bodyguard was speaking now.
Apparently, he's put in an affidavit. The question is, why didn't he do it during the trial? He's put in a sworn affidavit, and basically saying he's a witness for Tory that he didn't do it. So I mean. I don't understand why not have, I guess he was trying to say that they would not allow him to either testify.
Yeah, he was expected to talk, and they wouldn't allow him to.
Right,
Talk
or
to the
or
stand.
something to that effect. So I guess he's looking for him to get a different type of appeal. I think he's already been approved for the appeal. Let me make sure I'm not misspeaking.
So what would happen was that he'll get a new case.
Yeah, like right now, everybody's talking about Megan Thee Stallion admits lying to Gayle King.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So this is, so now you got
what else you would lie about? Pretty much, you lied to lied to all of us on national TV. So are you thinking that a person who would lie on national TV, would they lie on the court system? Like some people might say, well, it's apples and oranges.
Yeah, so they're saying that he has been granted the potential to appeal his conviction.
Right.
Right. So I guess the prosecutor will have to, reintroduce the evidence.
As long as they have all the evidence. I mean, this.
Listen, this is one of those things again. We're keeping it real goes wrong, man.
No, but it just goes back. Like all of these stories, all of these things that we're talking about goes back to just being careful and mindful of how you move. Because these guys are in situations that they didn't need to be in those situations. Like they either made some bad decisions or been around people that they shouldn't be around, or just, I don't know. I mean, we could all say that in hindsight. You know what I'm saying? We could all say that in hindsight, whether it's music business or just in life. You're jammed up. You're in a situation. And you're like, damn, man, I should have did this. I shouldn't have did that. Yeah, there's some things that are difficult to avoid, but there are things that we could avoid if we would have just put some things in place from the jump and made different decisions. It'll be interesting to see if Tory Lanez gets a new trial. And where would that go? Because if that man is innocent, if that man didn't do it, oh my goodness.
Look, it seems more feasible for the person who asked for immunity, allegedly. It seems feasible that, she could have had a moment of rage where she went to get the gun, shot the gun. He just stopped her from shooting her and then wound up emptying the gun.
Does the immunity go away on a new trial?
I don't know. But at the same time, it's like when you look at that, like, when you put it all into a context, it's like, like that's the only thing that would make sense is that two girls had a fight and, and it escalated. And if people were drinking and drunk and don't remember what was happening and so forth and so on.
And then they're in their feelings and.
Yeah. And again, it's all alleged. But, when you look at this type of stuff, it's like, what makes sense here? Does it make sense for him to shoot the girl he was sleeping with?
I mean, depends on you asking.
I can't with you, man. like for real, like I'm looking at that joint and I'm just like, and look, it's a shame to me because now what I'm watching too is I'm watching really the demise of two artists' careers just evaporate, right?
Yeah.
Two dope artists.
Yeah.
Careers just evaporated. And right now her career is evaporating in front of us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're watching public discourse now or public opinion now shift from empathy, right? To disgust. And now people are talking all types of things. And remember, she still got hurt, right? Now, as to how she got hurt and so forth, that may be cloudy, but she still got hurt, right? And we're watching it all just go, go into hell. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's terrible. And and that brother now, that brother could rap, he could sing, and I like his music, and it's just a dub now.
Yeah, but I think Tory, if he's ever given another opportunity at freedom, if he's, let out and returns to music, I think his music, and because of that situation, I think he'll be able to bounce back.
I think so.
You know, as creative as he is, and the way music is now, you know, I think he'd be able to. I think this will just reinvigorate him to come out and do some really quality, high content music. So, you know, I don't doubt his talent. You know,
I don't either. I think he's an exceptional songwriter.
yeah,
Um,
I think he's
and
underrated.
yeah, and I think that skill doesn't really go away that easily. So, you know, just hopefully, hopefully he can get this thing to work itself out.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, in what direction it's going to move in. Pivoting another time, and just a little bit more on the Diddy situation. We did read earlier that there was a situation with his sons having a little altercation, alleged altercation with Ray J, at a recent Halloween party. Yeah, I guess they didn't like what he said on Club Shay Shay, right?
goes back again to what we're saying about how to move. You know, one of the rules that you start to pick up in this music business is being mindful how you talk about other artists or other celebrities, entertainers,
Yeah,
on media.
yeah,
It's been a kind of a gray, etchy, kind of weird area, you know, depending on who you are, whether it's if you're doing it for journalism's sake or if you're an actual artist speaking about another artist, you know, what do you say? How do you say it when you're approached? And I guess he said something that they didn't like, and they confronted him, and it got a little out of hand, and you know,
allegedly.
allegedly, it was people intervened and stopped it from going the extra. But I'm like you said, we said off camera, like I'm surprised those guys are outside.
Yeah, that's really what my issue is. That Pops is under federal indictment, right?
You guys are underneath watch.
Yes. You guys are under heavy, heavy, heavy scrutiny, right? I am surprised that they are outside in that capacity. I am. I don't think that it's wise. I don't. I think you guys become easy pickings for another legal situation,
Yeah,
right? Like, I think you guys become easy pickings for women, right? Because you guys are still out here, sliding with whoever. And I think you become easy pickings for another sexual assault charge. I
any kind
think
of
you
charge at
become,
this point.
yeah, I think you become easy pickings for people who want to start fights,
Hmm.
right? I think you guys start become lawsuit material. I think you guys need to not be outside like that. Just keeping it 100. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys need to go into asset protection mode. And you being outside right now is not that.
Because you guys are on the verge of losing it all, if not already.
Listen, it's serious. It's serious out here. So I don't know. For heads to be in at functions and being able to get into altercations, it's not smart, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, but it goes back to what we said, is that just because you have the money, it doesn't mean that you have the behavior to maintain the money, right? Because it
Right,
does require a mindset shift and behavior shift in order for you to maintain what you earn. And just because you earned it fast don't mean you learn how to maintain it all.
right, right. It's a certain level of sense of financial maturity that you have to have, and it's not something that's like you could just turn on a switch and all of a sudden, you have that. You know, Again, and I've said this before. You give somebody from the hood who's behaving a certain way for years, you give them $1 million, they're not automatically going to start, quote unquote, doing the mature thing just because they have $1 million. For the most part, and time has shown over and over again, they are going to they're going to still display their behaviors. They still have those behaviors, those beliefs, but with $1 million. Now there are people who may sit back and say, you know what, I'm gonna do something different. But then that's because they have actively decided that they wanted to make a change, that this is going to help them make a change, and that's something that's already in them, and they now have the opportunity to use the money that they've got to help them make the change. But if you're a hood dude, been a hood dude, hood mentality, rocking a certain way, you get $1 million, you're not going. It's not going to change what you've been rocking.
So I guess the ultimate question would be, I'm a new artist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to get some traction, make some money. I got my day ones from the hood with me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How do we ensure that, the day ones, can the day ones even come along? Because, Benny the Butcher has that album, so everybody can't come. Right?
Absolutely.
And how do we make those decisions that, who is mature enough, who has the emotional intelligence to one, protect the asset, which is the artist, and two, to make sure that everything runs smooth and make sure that people aren't getting into trouble and putting us all at risk?
Well, I think the first thing that artist or that person needs to do is they have to get as much knowledge and information about what it is they're trying to do and trying to get to, because they're the leader and they're going to have to set up some rules and things. So they have to come up with a plan within themselves. Like, this is how I want things to go. This is my vision. This is my goal. This is what I want to happen. And start creating guidelines, right? Then they need to get with their crew, maybe sit down one by one and interview them for a job within the company. I'm going to give you a job, and it's your responsibility to do this, this, that. I won't tolerate this. I won't tolerate that. This has to be in play. This is how I'm going to rock this. I'm rocking this like a corporation. If you violate any of these things, we're going to sit back here, and then this grounds for termination.
Wow. Yep.
Depending on the severity of what the situation is, we're going to run this like a job. You may get a write-up, or you may be terminated, depending on the severity. And that's this. And then agree, you're going to sign a document on that. And just like any company, you got to have rules, policy, and procedures. Like, we're going to rock like this way, and we're going to protect the bag. And when you find yourself in these scenarios and situations, this is how you're supposed to act. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to roll like this. When we go to an event, we roll like this. We leave at this time. If you're still talking to a chick or whatever the case may be at that time, nope, it's a wrap. You cut it off. Let's go. No women after so-and-so. After this time, that time, they got to sign this. They got to sign that. You got to just set up all of these, and you get with it, and you make sure you have an attorney on deck, and y'all have daily conversations about how to protect the bag, how you guys got to rule, how you got to move. And you got to update these things too as certain situations present themselves. When you meet people and you got to travel certain places, and who has any cases on them, and who has does anyone have weapons on them, and you got to have account of who in your crew, what their situation is, and okay, he can't go because he got this going on.
Yeah.
If you're just like, yo, I got a deal, let's go, it's time to turn up, and you don't have nothing in place, man, you're setting yourself up.
And that's definitely like yo, I'm so glad you said it the way you said it, which is like, yo, we gotta have policy and procedure like we running a company here, because we are running a business.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And we have to have policy and a procedure and say, okay, this can't be tolerated. We can't do this. We can't do that. And and also people putting all of this stuff on the table. Hey, he got a felony. He can't go here. Or hey, he got this. He can't do this. And we have to find workarounds for this. Or okay, when we're going to this venue, you just simply can't. You can't be a part of this
right
now.
But you're gonna do this, or you're gonna do that.
Right. And we have to make sure that's what the situation is. And then also have to understand too, like, okay, like, who want to smoke, who want to do this, who wants to indulge in certain things, who drink too much. Okay, like, hey, there's times for that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We have events, you can do this and this, but there are limits to this. Like, you can't be drunk at the Christmas party. You know what I'm saying? At the corporate Christmas party. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to understand what the parameters are. So I think that's really like genius. It's like, like, we have to be able to see if there's a way for us to disseminate this information to people, for them to understand, like, this is how you really got to move. Like, there's no longer a situation where you can just wing it. You guys, your livelihoods are at risk. Like, they are watching, and your livelihoods are at risk, like, heavy right now.
And the thing is, Jug, like, guys from the streets. I mean, you know these things. You know your partners. You know your peoples, man. You know who the hothead. You know who not to give something to. You know who gonna run off with a chicken and do some stupid shit. Like, like, keep that dude away. You're not gonna have this guy watch your spot because this dude zones out. This dude gets distracted. This dude. You got to set it up in a way that we're gonna play to what you're good at. If you're good at this is gonna be your job. This, that, and the third. We're gonna get you some help, some training to make sure you do it smoothly, and we're gonna all grow and mature properly.
But like you said, we got to get everybody, on board and getting folks to really understand what their positions are. And I think there's too much time where folks don't know what their positions are, and basically y'all are getting jammed up because you're out of position. Like, that's really the problem here. It's like you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're out of position, and that's what's creating all the problems for a lot of you guys. And something that Fat Joe said that I really like, how he kept his situation kind of clean. It's like, hey, once he finds out that somebody is into this, like, you can't come anymore. Like, you're trying to do illegal activity with the money that I give you, and you trying to, take the money that you make from me and go cop from something from the plug and try to do something like negative. You can't do that with me. Like, you're no drugs. Like, you're out. Like, I see you too much nose candy. Nope, you're out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't have none of that around.
Yeah. You're jeopardizing everything we got going on. So I think that's how, that's how it has to be done. And I think also by setting it up almost like a company, it's like you're not telling a quote unquote friend out the back, oh, you can't go, because no, when you have a company and you do something wrong, now you have it on paper like, oh, you got fired because of this.
Yeah.
You're unable to do the job that I need you for. So, you can't come along.
Yeah. And I think that's really key to this. Is now what we're doing is we're putting the responsibility and the accountability back on you.
Right. And it's clear. It's on paper.
Yeah.
And it's, what your expectations are and what we tolerate and don't tolerate. And when you have it lined out on paper as like a job, it makes it much more clearer versus, you don't have anything. It's, come on, let's all go, and somebody screwed up. I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nah, get everybody into that mentality. Oh, this is a gig. This is work. You know what I'm saying?
This is work. And I think that is the main thing. Like, this is work, this is business. Like, I think that is like the real genius behind that. It's like, hey, we have to give you a job detail, what you're supposed to do. And like you said, if something doesn't work out, now nobody can take it personally. You just didn't do your job.
Crazy.
Yo, that's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. Make sure you're checking us out at arkatechbeats.com. Everything at Arkatech Beatz. Today it's the late Prodigy's birthday. Happy birthday to Bantana P, Prodigy Mobb Deep. We definitely, that's one of the greats, man. So, one of the legends in the game, man. So, gave us a nice, good opportunity, and I'll be forever grateful for that.
I miss Prodigy, man. Like, damn, I don't know, man. Like, especially right now when people are starting to respect bars again, and like miss bars and miss in-depth music. Like right now, especially. Oh my goodness! Like I could only imagine what he would be spitting, what he would be saying.
But I need you to be a little bit more specific on give folks a Prodigy story, because what may not know is that you had a really, really good relationship with Prodigy as being an A&R at Loud
Mm.
Records. You was an A&R assistant on the Mobb Deep Hell on Earth
Oh,
album,
nurse.
right? And then we used that and we segued into making the song Self-Conscious with Prodigy and Nas. We produced that. But you
Right.
always had the stronger relationship with P. Give the folks something about P that you remember, as we kind of like recollect on his birthday.
Man, Prodigy, man, was it's ill to me. It was ill because like the world saw him one way, but there were times me and him would just sit down at the office and just shoot the breeze and just we would just talk and just talk about life stuff and things going on. And he was very insightful, very knowledgeable, about just a variety of things. And he would read like a lot of these books, Dr. Malachi books also, and he would share his perspectives on the government and what they're doing and how we need to protect ourselves. And
Wow.
he was one of the people that tell me, "Yo, man, fluoride on the toothpaste is for real, boy. Like that stuff, you got to be careful." So he would tell me all of these, drop these little jewels on me, and I'd be like, "What, for real?" He'd be like, "Yeah, yo, yeah, I learned this, I learned that, man." And he would just give me that information, and you know, we always just sat down and just he'd come to the office, he'll do his rounds, he'd do what he needs to do, handle some business, and we'll come and he'll just go and he'll just kick it for a minute. He would tell me about his sickle cell and how much that affected him and how painful it was, and he would describe it to me, and I'd be like, man, that's painful. But he was just also saying how important it is to just eat right and,
Yeah.
and make sure that you have a good diet, man, and to watch yourself. And that was one of the times that I was starting to learn about being a vegetarian. So that was an impact on my life as well, to try and make sure that I was being careful of what I eat and how I move. And, you know, we were blessed to be able to work with him on a production level as well,
Yeah.
and we were gonna it was really supposed to be for his album, but then he told me like, and he was kind of happy to tell me, he was like, yo, um, it was almost like a surprise. Like,
I remember
yeah,
that.
Nas wanted for his joint. So him and Nas was on the record, and then it was just like, wow. And even ill thing is we just did some records with Nas. So it made it even more crazier. So, and I think, outside of Alchemist, I think we're the only producers that worked with Nas and Prodigy on a record, had them on a record together.
Yeah. Right.
Just them two,
Solo. Yeah.
right? And man, like the stuff that he was spitting, man, it was just like, yo, how do you think of this stuff? Like how do you even you get here? And man, I just man, that's a real one we lost, man. Like, there's a lot of information in that guy, a lot of depth. And man, I think we also, on a creative level, we lost a lot of great, not just a great person, human being, but we lost a lot of jewels, a lot of good music to come, because he was gonna come with some more stuff, man.
And listen,
And that Nas and Prodigy album was supposed to be some coming. That's a whole nother
and
another thing.
like people don't really understand. Like, I it was like that. Listening to that Infamous for me was like, I was take that on college. You know what I'm saying? And I would just have that like blaring in my headphones, and I would just be like, this thing just sounds ridiculous to me. It was like ridiculous, and it was just like when we were just kind of trying to find our footing. You know what I mean? And then I think you had just started the internship. It was slightly before that. Like, we
Mhm.
had just started getting our feet wet, and it was it's really a staple in New York hip hop. So we I'm forever grateful for that opportunity
Remember that time? Remember that time my car got towed outside the
That's the
studio?
story. That was the story, because that was the same night when we went to, I think it was, where they used to work out of Battery. What studio they used to
No,
work
I
out?
think I was Star Trek studio. I can't remember the name. No, it wasn't Battery. I think it was like Star Trek Studio or
It was
something like
one
that.
of these studios that he was working out of. I remember us going there and that's when he played us the record, right? And
Yeah.
he was in there. He was working with Alchemist on something, and then he was like, he told us everything. He said, "Hey, I got Nas on this going to be on the Queensbridge album," and he was like, "Yo, make sure y'all get paid." And he was like, you know what I'm saying? And he was giving us all of that, and I remember us leaving the studio, and we was like giddy, like oh my god, like yo, we got Nas on the joint.
And
It's
Prodigy
crazy
on one record,
and it's like this is gonna go crazy. So we like, yo, we walking up and down. What's that? 21st Street or something like that?
21st Street. Yep.
so we walking up and down. And like, yo, where's the car? Like,
where the car at?
Yeah, find the car. Like, we didn't park this far. Like, where the car at? And then Pete pull up, like, yo, y'all looking for your car? We're like, yeah, like yo, y'all probably got told, man. Just hop in with me, man.
Yep.
I'm gonna take you to where it's at.
He said this joint happened to him all the time.
Yeah, he said just hop in with me, and he took us to go to drop us off by the tow yard. Yeah. That was on the West Side Highway. We had to pay the fine, get the car back. And I always remember that, like, yo,
he pulled up in the big body 600.
Yeah, he had the big body Benz.
And he's so little. This feels like a tank.
He was like, yo, hop in, yo. I'm gonna take you to get your car, man. You know what I'm saying? But that's really a testament to how grounded he was. He could have been like, yo, y'all car all the way down there. Walk down there, go get your shit. You know what I mean? But it wasn't even like that. It was on that type of time. Like, yo,
he was like, yo, hop in. I'm
gonna take y'all. I'm gonna take you to go get it. Forever grateful, bro. Like, I ain't gonna hold you, man. Them people still rocking that record just 20 years later. Forever grateful, man. Forever grateful. You know what I'm saying? So, rest in peace to Prodigy, man. Mobb Deep, man. So, one of the best to ever do it, man. I'm telling y'all. If y'all don't understand, man, you better understand. On a separate note, before we get out of here, Lloyd Banks, Halloween Havoc 5 out now. Make sure y'all go listen to that. Halloween Havoc 5 is out now. We are on that album. Production. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me get some claps on that. Wait. Some production on that. Taking notes.
Taking notes.
Definitely was a great collaboration. You know what I'm saying? People are really loving that. And it's that Arkatech beat sound, man. You know what I'm saying? You know how we do it: grimy, crazy, gritty. And Lloyd just spitting where he's spitting, man. So make sure y'all go check that out, man. Taking notes. Lloyd Banks, Arkatech Beatz, Halloween Havoc 5. You know what I'm saying? Y'all check that out, man. Anything else for the folks before we get out of here, Mike?
A lot of good music coming out, man, this week.
Oh, listen, I think next week we got to talk about that. Because remember, the week before last, I said there was nothing coming out. Everything was dry. I said, it's so dry. There's nothing going on. And then we get Westside Gun, then we get Gibbs, and then we get Tyler, the Creator. And everybody's dropping. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, everybody's dropping. Like, okay.
Banks and Busta got a new record that's just
Busta's out. Everybody got joints out. Like, what's really going on? So everybody is basically now vying for position. I guess they see that the lane is open because there ain't no music out here. So I guess everybody's trying to go for the gusto.
And then you notice the kind of music that's coming. So it kind of goes back to, is drill dead?
It's dead, bro.
It's
dead. Like, it's dead, bro. Because if you're listening to Guns and them, if you're listening to Gibbs and them, like that lyricism, bro. Good luck trying to compete with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you got Benny and 38 and Special, right?
38 Special, yep.
On Stabbed and Shot 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a bunch of records out. Man, good luck, y'all. Good luck trying to fit that mediocre shit inside of all of that. Good luck.
Boom Bap is back.
Good luck. Good luck with that. Now we're gonna see the real from the fake. Oh, Drake dropped the No Face video this week, and it's not a lot of fanfare.
Yeah, I don't see any. Like, it came in. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a strange time.
Yeah. Boom Bap is back.
Yeah,
that's what we want.
Yeah, I think that. You think that's what it is?
I think so. It might be.
You think maybe it's not the sound anymore?
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Like in another week or two, if this continues, if some more boom bap just continues coming out and people like gravitating toward it, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we gotta talk about that next week, man. We gotta talk about what these albums are sounding like, what we like, what we don't like. You know what I mean? But in the meantime, everybody be safe out there. Till next time,
Peace.
be safe out there.